I mean, I wouldn't. Hello, my pink, round, squishy little friends. I'm here to give you my thoughts on Kirby and the Forgotten Land Switch 2 Edition plus Starcrossed World. You probably already know this, but I simply must begin the review by saying that Kirby and the Forgotten Land was one of my very, very favorite games on Switch. I love the game to pieces. Out of all of the notable first-party Switch games, I would say that Kirby and the Forgotten Land is particularly strong in the artistry department, you know, like what it does on a genuinely artistic level, what it does with the series, the contrast between lighthearted, kid-friendly simplicity and more just dark themes and grand scope. The environments are just breathtaking. They're so interesting. The whole like post-apocalyptic city angle, it's just, I think it's a really incredible game. And I feel like I should be more excited to talk about the new content. And yet, since the Switch 2 Edition's announcement, I really think that nothing has excited me more than just the idea of this game running with better performance. So let's talk about that first. The original was so beautiful, just so absolutely gorgeous on an artistic level. Again, it's the environments, but it's also how everything is framed, the camera angles, and how Kirby moves through these environments. It's, you know, every frame a painting, that kind of thing. It was just so clear that the experience was held back quite a lot by the hardware. Visuals that were beautiful, but a bit jaggy, and of course a frame rate that was steady but relatively low. And I think the frame rate probably felt a little bit choppier than it was because the whole game does have something of a slow pace to it, you know, like the camera is pulled back pretty far. Kirby runs kind of slowly, and even if I did love the game, I did have to admit that that combined with the low frame rate, or, you know, not super high frame rate, it kind of gave the whole thing a very slight sluggish quality to it. So now, running at a much higher resolution, the game does look very, very nice. These environments are so richly detailed, so seeing it all much sharper image quality, it's extremely good. I think there is a little part of me that was hoping for a kinda higher resolution. It'd be nice if original Switch 1 games could run at like native 4K on Switch 2. I was really hoping that the Switch 2 would be powerful enough to at least run Switch 1 games closer to 4K. I don't actually know what the official resolution is here. It looks like there could be some dynamic resolution scaling going on. There are times when it still is a bit jaggy, maybe slightly more than I would like. But overall, it does look way better. It looks much, much, much sharper, and it's really, really nice. More importantly, though, is that frame rate. Like, that's really it. That's what I've been waiting for, is playing Kirby and the Forgotten Land at 60 FPS. It is glorious. It's everything I could have possibly hoped for. It's like the mud has been washed off the game. It's just, it is free now. It runs so flawlessly, so beautifully. It's like the game can be everything that it wanted to be now, you know? It is no longer held back by the hardware, and oh, the end result is just glorious. It's such a gorgeous game, and now it is running gorgeously as well. I love to see it. But yes, now let's talk about the new content, Starcrossed World. So the story begins with a weird thing happening in the sky one day. And I haven't played a whole lot of Kirby games, really just like within my YouTube career is when I started like playing basically all of the new ones that Nintendo published. And I kind of laughed that all of them kept beginning with just like, one day a weird thing happened in the sky. I thought that was like a coincidence, but no, it really does just seem to be Kirby games. I think it's a thing, right? That's how they all start. So yeah, a weird, gross heart thing falls from the sky, crystals all over the place, and there are these little starries that come out of it, and you gotta rescue all of them. They're basically like the new Waddle Dees, and you gotta get a bunch of them to stop the bad heart thing from being bad. I don't know. And Starcrossed World basically offers alternate versions of pre-existing levels. These weirdo crystals have covered everything, and they all have like an area of effect that creates new crystal pathways. Often you'll get like one huge crystal meteor that comes down right at the beginning of a level and kind of changes where you go, how you enter it right off the bat, which is cool. You know, you go up to the front door of something and just immediately it's like, nope, now we're going this way. But then within the levels themselves, there are these smaller smaller crystals that you hit, and these create even more new paths. And the game really plays with this idea a lot. It's really a core part of the entire experience. Every single time you do something different, something new in an old level, it's because of these crystals. It's because you're always creating new paths that lead to new places. Like nothing is just arbitrarily different. And I think that works really well thematically. It gives a really good reason why stuff is different, and it kind of makes you feel like you're the one carving out your way through this new content, kind of making it happen. And the designers have used these crystals in really clever ways. Like you often have to hit a series of crystals to create all of the paths that you need that all kind of add together, or you have to like hit them within a time limit, or you hit them and the paths themselves are like timed, they disappear after a few seconds. I love when you think you're leaving something behind, like you're not really seeing how a level is supposed to work or how you're supposed to get to a certain place, but then you find the right crystal. It turns out you just needed to get to the right thing, and then it like retroactively makes the path happen and all adds together. It's really fun, never quite knowing what kind of path is going to appear, like what is going to happen when you hit that crystal. Every single one is a little surprise. New paths and platforms and challenges are just constantly springing up before you. It's very satisfying. You never know how a level is going to take a left turn, how it's going to surprise you next. And then, new to this content is 3 new mouthful modes. And on the surface, they do seem slightly plain. The spring one in particular. It's like, wait, was that not in the original? I swear that one was in the original. But I'm actually really impressed. All 3 of these new mouthful modes are utilized really well. I mean, they're actually featured quite heavily. There are lots of sequences for all 3, and these sequences are also very well designed. Each idea is explored really well. The spring comes with a good number of very tightly timed challenges, a lot more like tricky platforming. The sign has you sledding down a hill really fast, and you can jump and you can do a spin attack, and it uses this pretty simple moveset in really interesting ways. You're always trying to stay on the right path and make sure you hit everything. There's even 1 or 2 where you are timed. You got to get to the end fast enough. These end up feeling rather exhilarating. They're very fast and very fun. But then the gear. Definitely the best one, the most unique idea. It's a kind of gameplay that feels genuinely new to this game. You can grab onto walls and roll around like Metroid Spider Ball mode, and it has you jumping around or falling, and you gotta hit the button to reattach. Just a lot of really fun sequences built around this mouthful mode. And then when you take these 3 new mouthful modes and you combine them with the whole crystal mechanic, it really does make for a unique experience. Like Starcrossed World really focuses on these 2 new ideas. So the content ends up feeling genuinely fresh, despite technically taking place in old levels. Even though you're moving through the same old areas, nothing ever feels rehashed. These really do manage to feel new. There are just so many new experiences to have within these old places. And I would say design-wise and, fun factor, it's all at least as good as the base game. I think there may be some sequences that maybe even exceed what we see in the base game. I really just some of the mouthful modes combined with the crystal path, new path creation system. It just gives the experience such an energy, such a forward momentum. Now, I do unfortunately have some complaints. I will admit I was kind of hoping for a little bit more content here. I mean, it's a little bit like the base game. It's not like the shortest game in the entire world, and if you really dig into all the collectibles and try to 100% it and everything, it's not too bad. But there was just that, could I just a little bit more, just one more world or something. And I'm feeling that again here. There are only a couple new levels per world. I know I was probably getting my hopes up, what if every level has an alternate new level? Yeah, that's probably too much, but yeah, really just a couple per world. There are 12 or 13 overall. I did the entire thing in about 3 hours. 3 hours, and I was basically done. And I was also hoping there would be a little bit more, like, strictly new stuff. You know, even just like a couple brand new levels would have really helped. The best thing about the base game, for me at least, was discovering each new place. You know, seeing these amazing set pieces, just like being surprised and wowed all the time. And since these are all old levels, you don't really get too much of that wow factor. There are a small handful of times when like the crystals and the whole like space theme can make for some really cool visuals. There are times like when the sky lights up and now it's like starry night sky. The crystals are pretty. It is pretty cool. I think it's just that it never really pushes too far past the source material. It doesn't really bring a lot of like truly original, big, new wow factor to the experience. And then like you've got new versions of old enemies and they are cool. I do like them, but like, again, they're not that much different. And they're also pretty easy to beat when you're working with an old file and you've fully upgraded all of your copy abilities. So yeah, I just think Starcrossed World could have used a little bit more like genuinely new stuff. One or two copy abilities, that's another thing I would have really appreciated. There are no new copy abilities, and that is a little bit disappointing. Even if there was just like a story-based gimmick one at the end, or just something like that. I don't know, even one would have really made a difference, but there's nothing new in that category. And like maybe some new challenge levels for the new mouthful modes, that would have been nice too, but nah, you really do just have the 12 or 13 new levels, and really that's it. And it is nice that it does give you more stuff to 100%, more stuff to collect. You've got a bunch of new figurines, and not just based on the new content, but also just a lot of the old content that just didn't have figurines. So you got a whole bunch there. You can save all the starries if you want, you know, trying to get everything. I'll probably add at least like an extra hour or something, maybe. I guess I really don't know. I haven't 100%ed the game myself. I probably won't. And then there's like the new Coliseum too. Not really my cup of tea, but that is a new thing. But after you beat all the levels and roll the credits, there's really nothing else to do other than collecting stuff. Like, there's no additional, as far as I know, I don't believe so. There's no additional content. There's no like secret level or secret world or anything. You really just get to the end, roll credits, and that's it. So yeah, it is disappointingly light on content, but what I did get from the new content was really, really enjoyable. I cannot stress that enough. It doesn't feel like fluff. It doesn't feel like just a rehash of the old content. It's all very well designed. It's all very deliberate. And then of course, even just having the base game running so well, looking so beautiful is a treasure in itself. So whether this upgrade, this Switch 2 edition is worth it is gonna be up to you. You might feel that it's a little light on content, or you may feel like it's absolutely worth it for any number of new levels at all, a bunch of new collectibles, better performance. It's gonna depend on the person. Well, those are my thoughts on Kirby and the Forgotten Land Switch 2 Edition plus Starcrossed World. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really, really do appreciate it. If you have been playing Starcrossed World, I would love to know what do you think about it in the comments of this video. Please have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will catch you next time.